Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with a video for you guys and gals. I'm here to talk Halloween. I'm going to talk about this, the potential of this Halloween TV series. And I'm not just going to talk as a fan, I'm going to talk as a writer. I'm not writing the series, I want to make that very clear, but I'm talking to somebody who writes their own stories, and I've written Halloween fan fiction stories. So let's say because they are going off, from what I've heard and read, unless this has changed by the time you watch this, which it could be, I don't know. But the last thing I heard and read is that they were going off John Carpenter's Halloween. Now, there's no sister connection tie-in in the original necessarily. But could they decide to do the sister connection and make the tie-in for this series? Yeah, they could. Here's my issue, whether they do or don't. Okay? We have heard Michael and Laurie, Michael and Laurie, Michael and Laurie. Regardless whether it's a sister connection or not, Michael and Laurie seem to be handcuffed to one another. And I will say that is getting a little bit, okay, that's a little much. There are two reasons why, to me, you should be doing this, whether you're doing the sister connection or not. Again, I'll do the sister connection first. If you're doing the sister connection, again, you're doing a television series. You don't have to reveal everything in the first episode. You can stretch the episodes where Dr. Loomis finds out, whether it's the next episode or the episode after, that Laurie is related to Michael, and then Laurie finds it out from her adopted parents. Whether they have them tell her or Loomis tells her, but somebody does tell her. Okay, what happens here? And by that I mean, because with this series, now that you've rebooted the franchise yet again, you now have an official clean slate of what you want to do with Laurie Strode. Unless you're honestly just telling this story to tie it in with the other movies that exist, which I can't believe that they're doing because Halloween 2 already exists. And they've made it very clear they're only going off the original. So if you're honestly rebooting the sister connection and you're wiping 2 clean as well, and you're going back and doing this, you have to do things a tad differently. To me, no time jump. At least not right away. If you do this to just time jump, I'm sorry, that's stupid. No matter whether you have the sister connection or not. Time jumping is the laziest fucking thing you can do. You've already time jumped how many times in this franchise? You time jumped for H2O, and then you time jumped for David Gordon Green's trilogy. Enough with the fucking time jumps already. That's a lazy fucking way out. Honestly, tell me the story of how this girl is now feeling, now knowing she's related to a man who not only stalked her, but stalked her friends, and stalked God knows who else that night. And make sure when you do the first episode, you're telling the story of who else he stalks and kills after the 6 shots. That's what your focus should be if you're doing Halloween the Sister Connection. Your focus should be 1978. What happens post Myers getting shot? What does the rest of that night honestly look like? To me, it looks like Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace running down the street. We're inside the Mackenzie household. Mr. McKenzie's getting up off his chair. He's holding up his newspaper. He's turning off his TV for the night. His wife is turning off the kitchen light. They're going to bed. They got the one door locked. They got the other. They're getting ready to lock the other door. Then they hear the screams. Mr. McKenzie opens the door. Here's Tommy Doyle. Here's Lindsay Wallace. Hey, Tommy, what's going? Maybe he recognizes Tommy again. Go down the street. So clearly they live on the same fucking block or on the same street. Okay, maybe he recognizes Tommy and Lindsay because he's seen them before. Tommy, Lindsay, what's going on? What's wrong? And before they can say anything, he hears Loomis. He hears not the first shot, but the second shot. He hears the second shot ring out that happens within the bedroom where it's starting to knock Myers back, where he's going to go off the balcony. He hears the succession of shots. Bang, bang, but he hears the other 5. So he hears the shots, and so does his wife. They usher the kids in, they shut the door, they lock it, they call the cops. Because why the hell would somebody be shooting a gun on Halloween? That's not a prank, people. And he realizes this. You need to tell the story of the rest of some of this town. They don't know a killer's loose. They don't know a killer's out there. That isn't public knowledge yet. You could have Michael stalk and kill other babysitters and other people. Yet just because it's the sister connection doesn't mean Laurie Strode's going to be the only one stalked. It doesn't mean that people who, you don't have to specifically know Laurie Strode to be stalked and killed. This is not about having a motive. This is about a evil man named Michael Myers. I've said no times of, okay, after 1978, however they catch him, let's say Michael leaves a blood trail from being shot, he collapses after losing that much blood, they take him and they arrest him. They take him to the hospital. He got shot 6 times. That should be their focus. Their focus should be telling you a story. The second episode. What should be the second episode? The aftermath. The aftermath of the night of 1978, of October 31st. This should be November 1st. You see people making funeral arrangements. You see people mourning as they're making fucking funeral arrangements. You're going to see funerals, and then in that very same episode, you have Laurie Strode sitting Laurie Strode should go to a hospital, sitting in a hospital, thinking, God, because she doesn't know yet, why me, why my friends, and then she hears about the other attacks. Because again, she's not going to hear that night. She may have got taken to the hospital. She got taken to the hospital. You need to not just, we're making this about Michael and Laurie. Whether it's a sister connection or not. Now I'll go not. Because there's a lot more they need to do. No matter what it is. Okay, you're making this about him stalking people because he's a killer, he's pure evil. Great. Again, tell me your first episode needs to finish 1978, October 31st. Same thing. The only difference is there's no relation. Here's your questions you got to ask, whether it's a sister connection or not. What's the consequences for Michael Myers getting out of Smith's Grove? I'm not just talking the murders. I'm talking, is there going to be consequences for Dr. Loomis? Is there going to be consequences for Sheriff Brackett because he didn't alert the public? He listened to Loomis at times, but then besides him losing his daughter, is there going to be other consequences? Meaning, are they going to relieve him of his duties for not alerting the public? Because at the end of the day, whether Dr. Loomis tells him or not, that's his call to make. He's the sheriff. He's the law. Number 4, what is the repercussion for Michael honestly just getting... Okay, Michael getting out. Why wasn't there more people trying to detain the prisoner or the mental patients that got out? What really, whether it's a sister connection or not, what really happened inside that sanitarium that caused Michael to break out? What went down? Was there an assist by Dr. Wynn? Wasn't there? Answer that question at least. That's something you could answer. Maybe Michael just escaped himself. Maybe he broke his own door. Who knows? We don't know. I do, again, if you're just making this to handcuff Michael and Lori together, then you are doing this for the wrong reasons. If you are doing this to honestly tell a good story, whether they're related or not, then you are doing this for the right reasons. All the right reasons. I don't need another time jump right away. If they time jump, if they go from 1978 to 1980, that's lazy. And you could say, well, they could use flashbacks. You're going off John Carpenter's fucking Halloween. You don't need flashbacks when you can actually tell the story, because your writer should be competent enough and intelligent enough to fucking write an intelligent story that is A, suspenseful, B, terrifying, and has you on the edge of your fucking seat with interesting characters. It is not going to be hard to write that if you are doing it correctly. And I gotta believe they got writers who know how to do that. Because I'm not gonna assume they don't. Okay? I want them to tell me, from a viewer standpoint and a writer standpoint, what happens the rest of 1978, no matter what the story is about. What becomes of what becomes of Dr. Sam Loomis? Does he get removed as Michael's doctor? What happens to Laurie Strode psychologically? Does she see Michael everywhere she goes? Does she think about... We know she's going to think about her friends. How guilty does she honestly feel? This is the first time we can actually see that instead of seeing it through flashbacks. You can now show it in a sense of episodes. Of where you're in Haddonfield, it's 1978, it's November 1st, here's a woman here's a young teenage girl who survived a traumatic event where her and her friends were stalked, but there were also other people stalked and killed later that night. And here's this girl feeling guilty she survived it. Tell me that story. Tell me that story. Tell me that story. Not use time jumps and tell me that story. Not use flashbacks. Tell me that story as is. Use 1970. Because if you're going back to 1978 and not really using it that much, what the fuck is the point of going back there then? Why do you want to keep going back to something and giving me absolutely fucking nothing? You have a lot of material to work with, and if you say you don't, then get the fuck out of the kitchen. I'm serious. If you can't come up with decent material going off of John Carpenter's Halloween, God help you. I'm serious. I hope to God this is really, really good and they write a hell of a story. Because they have plenty of material, to me, in my opinion, to work with. Alright guys, that's the end of my video. You guys have a good night. Take care. Peace.